I did not take back this land for power. I took it back so every Burkinabe, rich or poor, can finally stand on soil that truly belongs to them.
Burkina Faso has taken one of the boldest decisions in modern African history. It declared that every inch of land now belongs to the state. This means no individual, no company, and no foreign government can claim permanent ownership ever again. The announcement shocked the world, not because it was aggressive, but because it dared to challenge a system that has existed for more than 100 years. For decades, land in Africa has been quietly taken, bought, leased, and manipulated by powerful groups, both local elites and foreign investors. Farmers lived on land they did not own. Villages were pushed aside for mining projects. Traditional communities struggled to protect the soil their ancestors lived on for centuries. With one law, Burkina Faso ended this entire model. Under the new system, the state becomes the guardian of the land, not a seller. Foreigners can only apply for short-term leases. They cannot own land today, tomorrow, or ever. Even wealthy local elites can no longer hoard thousands of hectares while poor families struggle for tiny plots. This reform changes the meaning of ownership. Instead of selling land to the highest bidder, the government gives people access based on citizenship, not wealth. Every Burkinabe now has an equal right to use the land, whether they are rich or poor, farmer or student, man or woman. But the aim is not to lock land away. The goal is to protect it, to make sure the land is used for food, homes, energy and national development, not for foreign profit. Burkina Faso's message is simple: our land is not for sale, but it is for our people. This decision marks the beginning of a new chapter where land becomes a tool for dignity, not exploitation. President Ibrahim Traore did not just pass a law, he changed the national mindset. His reform is considered radical by outsiders, but for ordinary citizens, it feels like a long-delayed truth finally being spoken aloud. The reform says something simple: land should belong to people who live on it, work on it, and depend on it, not people who see it only as money. The global system treated African land like a product, something to be bought, sold, or flipped. Foreign developers purchased huge areas for luxury resorts or export farming, while villagers struggled to protect their homes. Traore's government refused to continue this silent loss. With honesty and courage, they ended that chapter. The law is not just about foreign control. It also targets internal inequality. For years, wealthy families or political elites collected massive landholdings. Meanwhile, small farmers rented tiny plots, constantly afraid of eviction. Traore flipped the structure. Everyone now stands equal before the land. No special treatment, no secret deals. This reform is not anti-development. It is anti-exploitation. Investors can still come, but they must work through state leases, respect the nation's priorities, and ensure the benefits reach citizens. It forces foreign companies to adjust to Burkina Faso, not force Burkina Faso to adjust to them. Most importantly, the reform restores a sacred idea: the bond between land and people. Long before colonization, African communities saw land as life, identity, and heritage, not a product. Traore's decision reconnects the nation with this heritage. By choosing honesty over global pressure, Traore has opened a path for true sovereignty. He has shown that protecting land is not a political move, it is a moral one, and many African nations are now watching closely, wondering if they should take the same bold step. For decades, Africa has faced a quiet but painful crisis: the slow loss of land to foreign powers and private corporations. It did not happen through war, it happened through contracts, leases, and deals signed behind closed doors. Thousands of hectares were taken for mining, farming, oil, tourism, and industries that rarely benefited the people living nearby. Burkina Faso finally decided to break this cycle completely. The new law shuts down the system that allowed foreign companies to take control of huge territories. It also stops wealthy internal groups from controlling land that many families depend on. The government realized that the old system created a dangerous pattern. Villagers were losing their homes, farmers were losing their fields, and communities were becoming strangers on their own soil. Under the new model, land is no longer a commodity, it is a national trust. This shift forces everyone to rethink what land means. Instead of being something to sell, it becomes something to protect. Instead of ownership, the focus becomes access and fair use. This reform covers everything: farmland, forests, rivers, towns, mining areas, and even sacred sites. Nothing can be quietly taken anymore. Foreign investors must now align their projects with Burkina Faso's goals, not with global markets. This means no more using African land to grow food for Europe while Africans face shortages at home. The biggest impact is psychological. People finally feel safe. Farmers can plant without fear. Communities can build homes without worrying about eviction. Land security builds life security. By ending silent exploitation, Burkina Faso is sending a loud message to the world. African land is not the world's playground. It belongs to the people who breathe its dust, plant its seeds, and hold its history. And for the first time in a long time, that truth is protected by law. Burkina Faso completely changed the relationship between people and land by making the state the custodian, not the seller. In the old system, land was treated like a market product. If you had money, you could buy as much as you wanted. If you didn't, you were pushed aside. This created huge inequality. Rich individuals, foreign developers, and corporations controlled the best land, while ordinary people struggled for small, insecure plots. The new reform breaks this cycle forever. Now the state manages land for the benefit of everyone. It does not put it up for sale, and it does not negotiate with those who want to buy it. Instead, the government gives citizens access to the land based on their needs and contribution, not based on their bank accounts. This means farmers, families, women and youth can finally use land without fear of eviction or exploitation. When the state acts as custodian, people know the land is protected. It cannot be taken away by a wealthy landlord or a foreign company. This system also reduces conflict. When ownership is centralized, there are fewer disputes over boundaries, inheritance or titles. Corruption becomes harder because no one can bribe an official to get land that belongs to the state. The rules become clear, fair and transparent. Most importantly, when land is not sold to the highest bidder, national planning becomes easier. The government can build roads, schools, dams and electricity networks without fighting with private owners. They can plan for the whole nation, not just for the rich.
Welcome to AMF4 TV. My name is Richard Che. I hope you are fine. Okay, we are talking about how African leaders has to be united by this an influential leader, Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traore. There is a video on social media, especially on our handles, that we have to share to you for you people to comment on it, on how statements he has been making all these days. We'll keep on updating you on this issue, but don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more of this video as well as similar videos like this. Let's listen to whatever he said and on social media to see, and then also don't forget to comment when you watch this video. Kindly also not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
For the rich, by becoming a custodian instead of an auctioneer, the state protects the future of the people. It ensures that land serves national growth, community stability, and food security. It transforms land from a product into a shared foundation for a stronger Burkina Faso. Once Burkina Faso reclaimed its land, the real mission began: redistribution. This is not just about handing out plots. It's about using land to build a stronger, fairer society. The government calls this Phase 2, and it focuses on giving land to those who truly need it, along with the tools to use it well. The first group in line is small farmers. For years, many farmers worked on land they didn't own. They rented plots from landlords or foreign companies and lived with constant fear of losing access. Now the state gives them land securely, along with training in irrigation, crop rotation, climate-smart farming, and modern tools. The goal is not just to farm, but to farm successfully. Next are women's cooperatives. Women do most of the agricultural work in Africa, yet they rarely own land. The reform recognizes their importance. Women's groups now receive land for farming, livestock and food processing businesses. When women control land, the whole community becomes stronger. Families eat better, children receive education, and income becomes stable. Youth are also a major focus. Half of Burkina Faso's population is under 17. In the past, young people left villages for cities, searching for jobs that often didn't exist. Now the state offers them land with opportunities in agri-tech, solar drying, seed development, irrigation systems, storage solutions, and rural entrepreneurship. Instead of running from rural life, young people can build a future on it. The message of Phase 2 is clear: land is not just soil, it is opportunity. By redistributing it to the farmers, women and youth who need it most, Burkina Faso is building the foundation for long-term prosperity, food security and national strength. The land is finally being used with purpose, for the people, by the people. Burkina Faso's reform is strong, but it is not anti-business. The country is not closing its doors to the world. Instead, it is setting new rules that protect national interest first. Foreign investors can still operate in Burkina Faso, but they cannot own land. Instead, they must apply for long-term leases directly from the state. This simple change puts the government in control and prevents companies from misusing the land. In the old days, foreign firms bought thousands of hectares for cheap prices, often growing crops for export, while citizens struggled with food shortages. That era is over. Now, any investor must align with Burkina Faso's national priorities: food security, job creation, environmental protection, and local development. Projects that only serve foreign markets are no longer accepted. This system encourages honest partnerships. Investors must work with local communities, hire local workers, and contribute to local industries. Instead of taking resources and exporting profits, they must bring value to Burkina Faso. At the same time, this new approach protects the environment. Companies can no longer destroy forests, pollute rivers, or exploit resources without consequence. The land belongs to the state, and the state can revoke leases if rules are broken. Most importantly, this reform builds confidence among citizens. People know the land will not be sold off secretly. They know the government is watching over it. This creates a stable environment for both locals and responsible investors. Burkina Faso is not rejecting the world. It is simply choosing to work with partners who respect the country's vision. Foreign investment is still welcome, just on Burkina Faso's terms, not the other way around. This is what true sovereignty looks like. Burkina Faso's land reform is not only about farming, it is also about building strong local industries that can give the country economic independence. For many years, Africa has exported raw materials and then bought back finished goods at much higher prices. This system kept African countries weak and dependent. Burkina Faso wants to break this pattern completely. Under the new plan, land for industrial zones will go first to Burkina-Bay-owned businesses or regional African partners, not foreign monopolies. Instead of importing tomato paste from Italy,